Hello, everybody.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Team Sessa Talks.
This is going to be a good one.
Why is it going to be a good one?
I'm excited. Why don't you tell everybody what we're talking about?
So, if you know my dad at all, there are three things he loves. One is his family.
Cannoli.
Okay, maybe four then. Two is real estate. And three is cigars.
Yes.
Cigars. He considers them his other children. So sometimes he comes home
they're at times better than children. They don't talk back.
Sometimes he comes home and checks on his other children before he checks on his other two.
Well, they miss me. The cigars miss me.
Okay, so yeah, we're going to talk about cigars today. We're going to mix things up a little bit. We're not going to be discussing real estate, which is kind of exciting, I guess, too.
This has a lot to do with real estate.
Why is that?
I have no idea, but I think more clearly when I'm smoking a cigar in our next real estate move.
Fair enough. Okay, so we're going to do a crash course in cigars. I see you smoking these things all the time. Talk to me. Do you know something about them or what?
One or two things. I am not one of these cigar aficionados that freaks out if somebody is holding it the wrong way or this and that. But I like what I like, and I don't mind sharing what I like. You can easily get carried away, though, and that's not what we're doing.
In what sense?
In just over the top as far as how to do certain things, how to smoke it, how to not smoke it. I mean, there's things that are right and wrong in smoking cigars, but at the end of the day, it really boils down to what you like and what you're comfortable with. And
correct me if I'm mistaken, but I think there's like a big following of people that are like really, really into cigars, and there's etiquette as to how you cut them, as to how you smoke them, as to what you pair with them, stuff like that. Correct?
Correct. And I guess the best example related to wine, there are some people that can't stand wine. Will never drink it, will never touch it, and can't figure out,
that's like me.
Like you, can't figure out what's the big deal.
Yes.
But when you watch somebody and they're tasting, I don't like this one, and then, I like this one instead, I like that wine, you can't figure out what is it, like, it all tastes the same to you. Correct. And then you get somebody who goes even further and needs a certain grape from a certain region, and there needs to be a certain flavor. Like, I enjoy wine. Particularly a dry red wine is what I like. I'm not too picky when it comes, as long as it's dry red. However,
I feel like all that stuff's made up. It's all the same.
It's not. Then there's some people that'll taste walnut and cherry with a touch of leather, and I think, how the hell they tasting that? I don't know, but I still enjoy my wine. I like what I like. What I don't like, I know I don't like it. But I can't remember the grape. I can't remember the year it was pressed. The size of the feet of the people crushing the grapes. I have no idea, and nor do I care. Now, your mother, when it comes to wine, she's more particular.
That's what I was just about to say. I think that's a topic for another episode.
She's more particular.
Yes.
Well, the same thing applies to cigars. You can go over the top, or you can just be what I call a general, someone who generally enjoys cigars. And there's the ones you like and the ones you don't like. I know what I like. I know what I don't like. But to name you, the type of leaf and which part of the year it was picked from and which region of which country and how old were the people that were rolling the cigars, I have no idea, nor do I care.
Yeah. So talk to us. Tell us what you enjoy.
You want to know? Okay, so this is, we're going to take this like a beginner's guide, a crash course in cigars, right? Okay, so the first thing you're going to notice about cigars, and this is in no particular order, I'm just kind of talking here. And for those of you, I mean, you could be listening to this on a podcast, so I'll try to be as descriptive as possible. And if you're watching this on our YouTube channel, you'll see a little bit more. You're going to see different sizes of cigars, different styles, different shapes, and there's not one that's better than the other. It's just what you like. So there's one of the smaller, and there's dozens and dozens of variations to these shapes, and each cigar maker has their own variations.
Okay.
I'm going to talk about the general sizes. There's a Corona, and the type of cigar is really figured out by its length and how thick it is, which we'll call the gauge.
Okay.
Okay? So the Corona is about 4 inches long and has a gauge that's in the 40s. Now, I don't want to get this too technical, but 40s is in the neighborhood of about half an inch.
Okay.
Okay? Okay. So the Robusto.
Can I just ask a question?
Yeah.
The size Corona has nothing to do with Corona.
The beer?
The beer, right?
No.
It's just the name of this. But so it's regardless if you buy a Cohiba or if you buy a
Monte Cristo, Arturo Fuente.
You can get any of these in a Corona size?
No. It depends if that manufacturer wants to make it. And they might have their version of the Corona, which be, maybe slightly off in size and length and gauge.
Okay.
But it's still considered their version of the Corona.
Okay.
Okay.
Gotcha.
So there's the Corona. And that Corona, that 4 inch by about 4 inch long by about half inch, that is the most popular size in the world.
Why is that?
It just is. It's a stat.
Is that one of those that you have on the table here?
No. I don't like that. I don't like that cigar. It's just a little small for my taste.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Fair enough.
So the next size is what they call a Robusto. This would be the size of a Robusto. It's about 5 inches, and it's about 5 inches long and about half inch thick.
Okay.
I've got one. This happens to be made in Cuba. It's the brand is Bolivar. It's not a heavy smoking cigar, but it's of the heavy. It's the lighter of the heavy smoking cigars. So I prefer a strong, heavy Cuban type of cigar.
And now, when you say heavy, are we just talking about the fill content?
The flavor.
Oh, the flavor.
The flavor.
Okay.
Yes. To me, it's all about the taste.
Yeah.
And the draw. The draw is how much smoke I pull in, and I like, I don't want it to be like, the fire marshal's going to be called, but I like a good draw. I get a good pull of smoke.
Can I see?
You can see. Don't get attached. That one belongs back over here.
Interesting.
Yeah, so that's called a Bolivar, made in Cuba. It's about 5 inches long and about half inch wide. Deep, like thick. The gauge.
So this one you said is 5 inches as opposed to the 4 inch, which is the most popular size. And
in the world. And when you talk about North America, it's different. This is the most popular in North America.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Why?
It just is. It's just what more people buy. It's a selling stat.
This looks like a normal size. Like, I don't know, when I think of a cigar, this is the size I imagine. Like, you have some of these.
Well, you might be thinking
cigars
as a beginner and thinking if you had to try a cigar, this is probably a size you would try.
You see it on TV, right? You don't see. I feel like you see that size more often as opposed to like the massive ones or the really, really small ones. All right, that seems like a common cigar size.
The next size is a Toro, 6 inches by about 3/4 of an inch wide. The next size, which are my favorite, is what we call our Torpedo. Torpedo have a torpedo on one end. They're about 6.5 inches long, about 3/4 to an inch thick.
Can I see?
That's the gauge, how thick they are.
Oh, wow. Okay, so this one feels substantially larger than the other one.
Yeah, so getting back to the Bolivar, that's 5 inches.
Talk into the mic, Bob.
Getting back to the Bolivar, that's 5 inches. This will take me about 40 minutes to smoke.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. That'll take me approximately an hour and 10 minutes.
Wow. So now, can we just put them together for size? Can you put that one here? Just in case. I know there's some people that are listening to this, but you can see that's a solid. And I don't know if you can tell by the actual thickness, But it's actually substantially thicker than...
Well, if you put them side by side this
maybe
way.
I'll be able to see it that way. Yeah, you can see that's a substantial amount thicker.
Yeah, this is half inch. This is 3/4 of an inch to an inch.
Now, do we know why the back was made that way?
They ran out of leaf. I have no idea. It's just the style. You know, why did wine? Why does some bottles have a certain shape, other bottles another shape?
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe it's marketing. I don't know, but I tend to enjoy the. You wanna grab that? I tend to enjoy the torpedoes more than any other cigar. So in my humidor, you'll see more torpedoes than anything else. The cool part about us doing this podcast, is I get to tell everybody out there, if you're thinking of buying me a Christmas gift, you can't go wrong with cigars. Just saying. Just throwing it out there.
Oh, boy. Specifically a torpedo,
Specifically a torpedo.
Interesting.
Cuban or Dominican would be my first choice.
Very interesting.
But I'm not too picky. I'll try them all. Okay. So then you get really crazy. You get into the Churchills, which are 7 inches. They're longer than any of these.
Yeah.
They're 7 inches, the same thickness. Those could take up to 2 hours to smoke. And then you start getting really crazy with the Lancero, the Gordo. You just get into, and we're starting to get into, more obscure types, but there are really dozens and dozens of types. But these are your main ones.
Yeah.
Corona, Robusto, Toro, Torpedo, and Churchill. Those are the ones that most people that kind of know anything about them kind of know. That's what they know. And then you start getting a bit crazy.
That's interesting. I didn't know that they had so many different sizes. I'm surprised with how different these two sizes are. I thought they would be very similar, but I mean, you could tell it's substantially larger.
Look at this one here.
Okay, this one just seems a lot thicker.
It's a little bit thicker. It's about the same size as a Torpedo.
And so
That's what you would call a Toro.
This one here is the Toro?
Yeah, that's the Monte Cristo Open. I believe it's a Toro size, but again, each manufacturer has their variation on the standard sizes.
So now, where did you get these?
The what's the one you have in your hand there?
This is a Serie P number 2 Partegas Habana.
The Partejas. That's local. I got that as a gift here.
Oh, okay.
I got a case of those down to the last few. That Monte Cristo is a special edition open. We bought that in Cuba. We bought a case in Cuba a couple years back.
It says Open Eagle.
Open Eagle is the brand. I've not seen it here, but I bought it over there.
That sounds very, very elite.
Yeah, here's a cool one. This here is a no-name brand.
Okay.
We bought in Dominican, and that's a Torpedo. I went in there at the Dominican cigar shop to buy this, actually, was what I was after, the Arturo Fuente Torpedo. Oh. That Arturo Fuente is one of my all-time favorite cigars.
Okay. I thought it would, okay, yeah.
This is now, and we're talking over the years, my third case of this, right?
You know what I just, why is this episode coming out so close to Christmas?
I'm telling you, I'm making your life so easy. And everybody that knows me personally knows cigars is the way to go.
All right.
Anyway, so we went in to buy the Arturo Fuente, and the lady said, yeah, we have them, but let me introduce you to another one. And that's a no-name brand, that one you have in your hand. I forget what it's called, actually. Can you read the name there?
It says Reserva Cristobal Colon.
Okay, if you say so. And they were rolling those, and she said, the guy working here that's rolling these comes from the Arturo Fuente factory. I don't know if it was a lie. It could have been. But I'm in a genuine cigar shop. The one big, huge room is a humidor.
Oh, that's the picture that you have framed.
That's the picture I have downstairs. She said, look, try it. And it tastes very similar to the Arturo Fuente, but they manufacture that themselves. And so I bought a case of those. They were really good.
For anyone that's listening, I'm currently doing a sniff test to see if there's any differences between the two, and they both smell identical.
Well, what you're smelling there is the leaf. Smell the tobacco. on the inside.
I can't smell that. I can't smell that. All I'm smelling is the leaves.
Okay,
The
so
leaves smell like popsicle.
you see, that's just, see, I can smell the difference. Here's the thing. There's people that'll look at wine
Yeah.
and
Well, that's
will
like me. I
swirl
don't-
it in a glass and then stick their nose and smell it, and they can smell the difference between different wines. Other people can't.
That's like me. I feel like I was never able to tell the difference between those or between the wine, and now I can't tell the difference between these either.
Okay, well, it's not your thing.
Mm-hmm.
I can't tell the difference between what one car sounds or another, but you can smell the exhaust and tell you the last time they changed the oil and what year the car was made in.
Yeah, you're not wrong about that.
You see, so it's just what you're into and what
Mm-hmm.
you're not. So, some other cigar etiquette.
Well, can we
Oh,
talk?
sure.
Can we
Go
talk
ahead.
about these boxes?
Well, these are just the boxes that they come in. I put them here for show,
Decoration
for
pieces,
decoration, part of the podcast. But they're cedar boxes. You should be careful about where you buy them. Don't. There's so many places locally here. You can go into
Yeah.
your variety store, your Max Milk. Although Max Milk doesn't have it.
Does Max Milk still even exist?
I don't know. I just the name that popped in the head, like Gilligan's Island, and I know you don't know anything about Gilligan's Island, but just be careful where you're buying these. And if you're traveling, my advice: those guys walking on the beach saying, "Hey, I got cigars for you," don't buy from them.
Yeah.
I'm not going to get into fake cigars and all that. That's a whole other animal. This is just a crash course. If you go buy it in a proper place,
Yeah.
enjoy it. Just don't buy it off the street. You just don't know what you're getting.
Now another question. I see this one here is wrapped in. I guess this is a piece of cedar,
It's wrapped in a thin piece of cedar. Yes.
and I see that these pieces of cedar come in a lot of these boxes.
Yes, you do.
Is it like a moisture thing or?
Just decoration.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yep.
I was told one time, actually, I forget who told me, but someone I think said that you use those pieces of cedar and you actually rip them and light them, and that's what you use to light the cigar.
Maybe.
Because apparently, if you light it a different way, or depending on your source of flame for the cigar, it can have a different taste. Is that true?
That is true. And maybe you're right. It's beyond my scope of enjoyment of the cigar.
True.
I have my favorite lighting systems, which I'll tell you now if you want.
Yeah.
My favorite way to light a cigar is with a wooden match.
Okay.
And maybe that's part of the cigar because of I notice if I use like a regular lighter, say the lighter that people use to light their cigarettes, I feel I'm tasting the gas. Maybe
Really?
it's psychological, but I feel like I'm tasting the gas that's in the lighter.
Yeah.
Like a Zippo lighter, for example.
Yeah.
I feel I'm tasting the gas that's in the Zippo lighter when I light my cigar with that. So I don't have any Zippo lighters downstairs. You've never seen me with a Zippo lighter. I have big, long wooden matches. That's my favorite, but you also don't see me using them very often.
Yeah.
I just can't. A little bit of wind, and you
that's true.
you just
Yeah,
can't
yeah.
light them. And I'm always smoking the cigars inside. Your mother's not let me smoke inside the house yet. You know, my fantasy is to be in a soaker tub, to have a TV on in the room, to have the exhaust fan on, and just in it like
Scarface.
Scarface, thank you. Fly pelican. That's my fantasy, but I don't have the house for it, nor the wife. She won't let me. So
Now, since we're talking about lighting them, these don't light like regular cigarettes, right?
no. Okay, so let's talk about lighting. My favorite way is to use a big wooden match. Unless you've got a no wind situation, that's difficult to do.
Yeah.
Then there's a soft flame, and then there's a torch. I prefer the torch lighting system. It's a lighter, but the flame comes out as a torch.
Okay.
I prefer that because it's quick, and it's in most cases the wind is not going to blow it out, and it's easy to touch up as you're smoking it. What I mean is, sometimes when you put your cigar down, if there's a bit of wind or when you're smoking it, if there's just even a gentle breeze, one side could burn different than the
Yeah,
other
yeah.
side. So with the torch, I could just quickly touch up one side, and then it's all burning smoothly.
Yeah.
What you got to be careful though with the torch is when you light it. If you keep it too close to the cigar to the end when you go to light, you could be lighting the inside, the middle, and it burns like a tunnel.
Oh,
You don't want that.
wow.
So you want to kind of light the outside.
Yeah.
But it'd be really nice if we could all be in a situation
Yeah.
and use the wooden matches. It's just difficult to do where we live. That's
Yeah.
all.
Wow, that's interesting. I didn't know you can burn, so it won't burn the outside?
Well, yeah, the torch is just so directional. You can just burn the inside, and then you're just not smoking it properly.
Now, how does it, okay, because what I've noticed on these, especially when you're smoking them and you're out there for an hour and a half, I noticed that the what's that part?
Ash.
The ash stays on.
Yeah,
Why is that?
that's just the way the tobacco is.
Is it just because it's packed so tightly, I guess?
That's part of it. It's a type of tobacco. It's more natural tobacco than you'd get in a cigarette. It's thicker, and you're not supposed to, like a cigarette, you take a puff and I've never smoked cigarettes, but I see people all the time take a puff and they're already flicking the ashes. You're not supposed to do that with these after each puff. It's just, there's not going to be any ash to pull out, and you kind of let it grow, and then you kind of hit it once, and an inch or two or an inch and a half of ash will fall off at a time.
Oh,
So
wow.
so that's one of those things about cigar etiquettes. You're not playing with the ash like you are a cigarette.
Yes.
Another thing about cigars, you really shouldn't be inhaling.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
You just
I've heard
don't
that.
inhale. You pull the smoke into your mouth, you taste it, you exhale.
Does it look like I'm slowly going lower?
What do you mean?
I don't know. My seats.
Oh, your seat's falling? I thought you were getting excited about the cigars. Okay, so don't inhale. I was once in a cigar shop, and there was a few people smoking. There was this one big guy. He was inhaling, like taking it in, and they had one of the big.
And this is strong too.
Oh yeah, and he had one of the big cigars, and I happened to say, "Wow, you're inhaling it." And he looked at me and said, "Yeah, but I only do this once a week."
Oh
And
my.
I said, "Oh my God. Don't inhale the cigars. Cutting the cigars."
Okay.
I have people over sometimes, and we'll have a cigar in the back, and for some people, it's a novelty. It's not something they do often. There's certain things that you shouldn't do that kind of irk me. If you're going to take a cigar from anybody that enjoys cigars, be prepared to smoke the cigar.
Oh yeah.
Worst thing is you take a few puffs and say, "That's cool," put it down and never smoke it again.
Yeah.
That drives me mental.
No, for
So-
sure.
so
Especially
don't-
because these things aren't cheap.
They're not cheap. No, they're not cheap. Some of these cigars will be $50, $60 each.
Jeez.
Yeah. You could easily find quite a few for $20,
Yeah.
$10, but you could easily spend $40, $50, $60 on a cigar. And then your buddy comes over and says, "Oh, this is cool."
Yeah.
Takes a couple puffs, and that's the end, and you just want to punch him in the head, The other part is when you cut a cigar. I'm going to mention a couple things here. There's a cap right at the top. You're not able to see this on the video or on the podcast naturally, but when you look at the way the cigar is made, right at the top, the part that you smoke from, there's a cap on it,
I think I see it.
right?
It's
Yeah,
it's a leaf cap, right?
yeah, that kind of goes the other way.
Yeah.
It's a leaf cap.
So you
it's
can
the leaf.
see-
So
so-
they
so-
roll it all the way around, and they make a tube.
For an auditory description, there's a leaf, and it follows a line, and it just goes up and up and up to the top, and then you have exactly what he mentioned, just a cap.
Yeah. So
That
they
just
roll it
wraps
in a
around the
long
top
tube.
section,
They
yeah.
roll it in a long tube, and then they take a piece of leaf and they cap the top, and the bottom is open where you light.
Yeah.
Okay. So do not put this in your mouth and bite it off. That's just ridiculous. You see it on TV and you know, in extreme crazy situations. I've done that. You know, you just got to have it, and you don't have your cutter with you. But don't do that. Don't be silly. Don't be biting into it and ripping it off. Don't be biting into my cigar there, Danny, and ruining it. Okay, so there's 3 ways of cutting it. No matter how you cut it, you never want to go longer than a cap.
Oh,
There's always got to be, when you cut it, a little bit of cap left over. That stops the leaf
from
unwinding while you're smoking it.
Okay, that makes sense.
Some people kind of go in and take a big chunk off.
I've seen that before. I've seen
it's
people
wrong.
just
It's wrong.
take,
Don't do that.
Okay.
Don't do that. That's just like putting ice in your red wine.
Yeah. Oh.
It's a no-no for those nonos and nonas out there that put a little bit of ice in their red wine. Good for you. But it's just not the way,
It's supposed to be enjoyed.
It's not the way it's supposed to be enjoyed. But you enjoyed how you like.
Yeah.
However, certain etiquette, do not cut bigger than the cap.
Okay.
And there's 3 ways of cutting it. Biting into it is not one of them.
Okay.
So there's a straight cut, and it's basically just the way it sounds.
It's essentially a guillotine.
It's a guillotine, and it's a straight cut, and you stick the cigar inside, not past the cap, and you cut a piece off.
Okay.
There's that. Then there's the punch.
And that's a bullet.
The cigar punch. Well, mine happens to be, this is a bullet,
Okay.
right? That's been kind of
Hollowed
out and a cigar punch put in. I also have a cigar punch at the bottom of this lighter.
Oh, okay. So it's just like a little metal circle hole.
Right. And it basically punches a hole
Yeah.
in the end of the cigar. And then there's what we call a V cut. So this basically cuts a V shape right across the end of the cigar.
Why?
Why what?
Why is a V cut even? I don't understand.
There's really nothing to understand. There are just 3 types of cuts: straight, punch, or V. Why? I have no idea. My favorite is the V cut.
Why is that?
I just like the way it draws the smoke, and I'm able to taste the cigar. But there is technically no difference. Some people will say they prefer the straight cut. Some people will say they prefer the punch.
The punch is kind of cool. Can I see?
Well, what's cool is to use the bullet.
Yeah.
But
wow, that's a massive bullet
Yeah.
punch.
But to me, the V cut is the favorite.
Well, I imagine they allow you to have different types of draws because this one here creates a small hole, a small deep hole through it, right?
Yes.
And
And
so-
I used to use the punch for years before I moved on to the V cut. Now it's always the V cut.
Oh wait, I bought you that. I bought you the non V cut. I bought you the straight cut.
Straight cut. Did you?
Oh, this is awkward.
Thanks, buddy.
I thought you wanted that one.
I do.
You should have made that more specific.
Well, I use
Jeez.
this from time to time.
Yeah.
Especially
For the
on
guests,
this,
right?
For the guests. But you can't see this here, but I'm holding up, on the video you can, I'm holding up an Italian cigar.
Oh, okay. Why is it
This
so-
looks, it's called the Toscano, and it looks like, and it's hard as a rock, it feels like a branch.
Yeah, this feels like a trooper.
The 2 ends are thinner. They look similar, the 2 ends. Like if you looked at it right now and I said, here, light it, you would know which end to light.
No, not at all.
Well, the way this is smoked is you actually cut it in the middle.
Oh,
And the middle is thicker than the end. So you cut it, and the only way to cut it is with a straight cut.
oh, thank God.
Yeah, you cut it in the middle, and then you light the smaller end. And it kind of looks like the cigars that Clint Eastwood smoked in the spaghetti westerns.
Oh, this is so weird. Why
Yeah.
is it the leaves feel thicker?
I don't know. It's just a whole different, but it's a strong little cigar. When I cut it in half, what I enjoy about this is when I'm out and it's just a quick barbecue.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm not going to be out there long, I'll smoke this because it's a quick smoke And by quick, I don't mean 10 minutes, but it's at least 15, 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And the flavor is really good, but it's not your traditional Cuban cigars.
Not at all.
If I was in a room with these cigar aficionados, these guys that are just over the top, and we could talk about Arturo Fuente, and we could talk about the Cohibas, and if I was to mention this one, they would think like I'm crazy.
Yeah.
I don't know nothing about nothing, but it doesn't matter. It's about what you enjoy.
Yeah.
You drink what you like. You smoke what you like. You drive what you like. Some people like pickup trucks. Some people like small little fast sports cars.
Yeah.
It just do you. Do what you like.
Yeah.
And I enjoy smoking cigars from time to time.
And you enjoy number 2 Arturo Fuentes Torpedo.
I like those a lot.
Noted.
I like those a lot. Now, some people will drink brandy with them. They'll drink cognac with them.
Yeah.
I'm not a cognac or brandy drinker, at least not yet. Maybe later on, but not yet.
Yeah.
I enjoy my cigars with a port, a nice red.
Yeah, that's true.
I'll even have a port with a beer, but it's just...
Have a port with a beer?
Sorry.
Cigar with
I'll
a
have a cigar with a beer. But port with a beer wouldn't be a bad idea either.
That's so now, how do you store these things? Because I see you got that thing there. And I remember this.
Yeah, this is a travel humidor.
So I remember that this got you in quite a bit of trouble one time.
At the airport?
Yes.
Yes.
I remember. So we were going through customs, and he had this in his bag, and they kept asking him, "What is it? What is it?"
Well, they couldn't figure it out. I'm showing them. I'm opening it up and showing them there's cigars in there.
But the reason why is probably because you made some dumb joke to make it seem like it was not what it was.
I never make jokes about bombs at the airport.
Oh, come on. I hope the TSA. We don't have TSA. That's in the States, no. Yeah, I remember you made a joke, and they thought that was not something. That was not what you said it was.
What it was the gauge, the reader here that reads the humidity inside, and they couldn't figure out what this was, and I had to show them and explain and pull the cigars out, and finally they let us go. But I had some explaining to do there.
That was stressful. Yeah. I remember me and Steph were like, "Oh my God, what's this guy doing?" Because you were making a joke out of everything.
Well, I'm going on holiday. I was having a good time. What can I do? So this is a travel humidor. Now, most people will keep their cigars in humidors. And there's the regular cedar type of humidors. If you're going to do that, don't forget you need to be seasoning them. Let me start again.
Let's try that again.
First day with my new lips. You need to be seasoning the humidors.
With pepper, salt?
No, with distilled water, because it's cedar, and you want to just damp the casing on the inside, the cedar walls of the humidor, so they absorb moisture. So when you put the cigar in, they're not absorbing the moisture from the cigars, and it keeps them at a certain humidity level.
So why keep them in that box?
So they stay humid.
Oh, okay.
You got to keep the humidity there, and cedar does that.
Oh,
now,
okay.
The humidor I have is a step up, and the best way to describe it looks like a mini fridge, a mini wine fridge.
Yeah, it looks like a wine fridge.
Yeah, so not only can I control the humidity in there, but I can also control the temperature. Mm-hmm. And that's what those other humidors don't do. They don't control the temperature, just humidity. So I can control humidity and temperature. And cigars are just like wine in a sense, where you can age them. Mm-hmm. So there's no expiry date. You can age cigars the way you would get a nice red and age it. And from this year to next year, it's going to taste different.
Yeah.
And that's the same thing with cigars. You age them, and you can have a collection, and you just got to properly maintain the humidor and make sure you're keeping an eye on it.
Yeah, that's true.
This was exciting. Thanks for letting me talk about this. I don't know how exciting you guys will find it out there, but remember, if you want to get me a Christmas gift, I'm good with cigars.
That was interesting. I had no idea there were so many different styles.
And you're here, and you see me smoke these from time to time, and there's just so much that goes on behind the scenes,
really-
and you learn. You learn.
I really had no idea that there was that much involved, even from the process of cutting it. I mean, I thought it was just, you just cut off the back and smoke it, but clearly there's a little more to that.
There's more to it,
Just that.
and the little bit more you know about it, probably the better you would enjoy it. Not that I'm trying to talk people into smoking cigars. For a lot of people, it's just not for them. Can't stand the smell, want nothing to do with them at all.
Yeah.
That's fine. You do you, I do me, everybody does
Different things.
Different things. That's better.
All right. So thanks for that, Dad. That was very.
You're welcome.
Very insightful.
Thanks for allowing me to talk about this, and I'm gonna go have a cigar.
Oh, you're gonna go. Well, we should do. Our next episode should be outside, and we're testing them.
Perfect.
Right? That would be
Perfect.
nice. I don't know.
Perfect.
I think you'd enjoy that too much, actually.
Yeah. I don't know if we're going to be talking, just kind of leaning back, having a drink, and puffing away.
Anyways, thanks guys for tuning in to another episode of Team Sessa Talks. We will be back next week with a more real estate related topic, I think.
I don't know. We've got somebody coming talking about fireplaces and installing them in your home. We got that coming up. We've got some of the local businesses. One of them is one of this exercise program that we're part of,
Yes.
the kickboxing, that we're going to be talking about that soon. So
exciting.
there's a lot of things coming up.
So there's a lot of things coming up, and you can check back. Oh, I always screw up this outro, but
Say
all
goodbye.
right.
Just say goodbye.
I know it's probably easier that way.
Follow us, like us, subscribe.
Or you can watch this video.
Like me, not him.
If you're watching the video, or you can watch this video. We have all our episodes live on YouTube, and you can search Team Sessa on YouTube, and you'll see all the podcasts, the video version, and we have the audio versions available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and just about anywhere else you go to get your podcast. So, thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you guys soon.
Have a great day.